Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. If you're an agency owner, a creative director, or maybe a growth strategist, and you're currently feeling that very real, very frustrating pain of hitting a capacity ceiling, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're breaking down a really fascinating analysis on agency growth, specifically zeroing in on 7 hard-earned lessons from white-label WordPress website development partnerships. We're going to unpack exactly how you can break through your current limits without endlessly, and I mean endlessly, inflating your in-house payroll. You know, there's a hard truth about scaling that people like to gloss over. Real growth usually happens in the messy middle. As agency leaders, it's so incredibly easy to just broadcast the big wins, right? The flashy new client logos, the massive revenue milestones. But let's be real for a second. That isn't where the actual growth happens. Real growth happens in the trenches. It happens in those operational decisions that completely bomb before you finally figure them out. We're talking about the messy middle. And today, we're going to clear up that mess by looking at a decision that fundamentally reshapes how an agency operates, bringing in a strategic white-label WordPress development partner. Okay, let's dive into this. Most agencies are trapped in a very specific, kind of limiting mindset. They look at a project and immediately ask, well, what can our internal team build? But doing that immediately puts a hard ceiling on your potential. To break free, we have to reframe the question entirely. What outcomes can we deliver for our clients, and what is the smartest way to deliver them? When you stop worrying about internal headcounts and start focusing on outcomes via a white label partnership, growth paths that were literally invisible to you suddenly open wide up. So, to escape that messy middle, we start right here. Phase 1, mastering collaborative web development. Look, the agencies that fail at white labeling almost always do the exact same thing. They hand over a vague, half-baked brief and expect absolute brilliance in return. It just doesn't work that way. The quality of what your partner delivers is directly tied to what you send them. Experienced agencies build a standard, ironclad template covering business goals, design references, required functionality, and hosting environments. Investing just 10 minutes to fill out a thorough brief like this will literally save you days of exhausting back-and-forth revisions. Good collaboration always starts with clear communication. Which brings us to a really stark contrast in operations. On one side, we have the black box vendor. This is treating a development partner like a machine. You throw a project over the wall, keep the client completely isolated, and just kind of cross your fingers and hope something good comes back. But on the other side, we have the strategic partner. This is where the magic happens. The best agencies treat their white label partners like an in-house team. They share client feedback directly without filtering it. They flag scope changes the moment they happen, and they actually ask for technical input instead of just demanding blind execution. Transparency accelerates absolutely everything. Once that collaboration is locked down, your bottom line is going to transform. That brings us to phase 2, unlocking hidden WordPress profits. Here's a highly practical takeaway for you. Track your first 3 white label projects end to end. There's a massive, honestly surprising epiphany waiting for a lot of agency owners here. Web services have untouched margins just waiting to be claimed. Think about it. When you pay an in-house developer's salary, benefits, and overhead, trying to calculate the true profit of a single project gets really murky. But with a white label partner, your costs are clear and totally predictable. Record your costs, your billable rate, and your final margin. When you do this, the math becomes completely transparent. You can price with absolute confidence, and you start charging what the work is genuinely worth. And this brilliantly illustrates Lesson 5, productizing your services. When you have a reliable white label development partner consistently delivering behind the scenes, you no longer have to reinvent the wheel for every single client. You get better at scoping, and you start developing standard packages. Whether you're offering a fixed-price starter WordPress package, a standard WooCommerce store launch, or a tiered care plan retainer, productized services are immensely easier to sell, much simpler to deliver, and wildly more profitable than custom-scoped, bespoke headaches. But you can only pull this off when you have a reliable delivery engine powering it underneath. All of this unlocks our final operational shift. Phase 3, scaling up by saying yes. Without in-house capacity, agencies turn down or delay projects constantly. They lose bids to larger competitors simply because their internal team is tapped out. A white label partnership completely shatters that capacity ceiling. When a client asks for a complex build or suddenly wants to add an e-commerce component, your answer finally becomes a resounding yes. Here's a challenge directly from this source material. For the next month, keep a log of every single project or upsell you would have normally turned down because you didn't have the capacity. Seeing exactly how much revenue you're leaving behind, that is a powerful motivator. When execution is off your plate, your most valuable resource comes flooding back.
your time. Agency owners often waste their best hours trying to manage freelance developers or troubleshoot weird plugin conflicts. But the fastest-growing agencies consciously redirect this reclaimed time. They put it into business development, deepening client relationships, strategic planning, and developing new service offerings. If you just fill that newly freed time back up with operational busy work, well, actually, scratch that, it's worse. You'll end up right back where you started, but even more exhausted.
All of these lessons point toward one essential truth: the ultimate solution, partnering with Viral Chili. I want you to think of Viral Chili not just as a vendor, but literally as your agency's ultimate cheat code. It's really tempting to cycle through cheap, transactional freelancers just chasing the lowest possible hourly rate. But doing that actually costs you so much more in the long run through ramp-up time, inconsistent quality, and maddening communication overhead. Viral Chili is entirely different. They're a strategic partner built specifically to scale directly with your agency, helping you secure those higher margins, easily roll out productized services, and aggressively reclaim your time. Top agencies rely on Viral Chili for 4 distinct reasons. First, consistent brand-safe delivery, meaning absolutely no surprises. Second, dedicated project management, which completely solves those freelancer headaches we were just talking about. Third, as you build a relationship with them, you unlock preferential capacity. That means they are there for you when you are ready to scale up. And finally, they act like a total chameleon, operating fully and flawlessly under your agency's brand. Your clients just see your agency executing perfectly. It's white label development functioning exactly as it should. So, the crucial point is this: build the kind of partnership that compounds in value with every single project. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. The longer you work with a dedicated team like Viral Chili, the better they understand your agency's unique standards, your specific client profiles, and your preferred way of working. That deep understanding translates directly into faster delivery times, fewer frustrating revisions, and vastly superior outcomes. It's an investment that genuinely compounds over time. Which leaves us with one final incredibly important question to ponder today. How much growth is your agency leaving on the table right now by trying to build everything in-house? It's time to stop limiting your capacity and stunting your own growth. If you want to experience the compounding value of a true strategic partnership, it's time to start exploring Viral Chili's white label WordPress development services today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and for sure, stop letting the messy middle hold you back.